my slips, my falls, my trials and tribulations, my heart, my balls, my somebody stop, somebody come and get me. Little did I know that the Lord was riding with me. The dark, the light, my heart, the fight, the wrong, the right is gone.
Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Leggett representing Team JVS. I'm back again for another movie review. To my great surprise, I got to look at the movie Richard Jewell. There's been a lot of surrounding buzz behind this Clint Eastwood film. I'll read the synopsis for you. American security guard Richard Jewell, played by Paul Walter Hauser, saves thousands of lives from an exploding bomb at the 1996 Olympics, but is vilified by journalists and the press who falsely never mind, I'm not going to say anything more. They report, I'm not going to say anything other than that. I think that synopsis was way too spoilery. I didn't even have any conceptual understanding of what this was about. But the fact of the matter is, you got Clint Eastwood going off of like a realistic American hero that is, what's the word? I would think that probably not since $1 Million Baby has he tackled something kind of like this. In terms of tone, in terms of big cast, like this was a good run. And it was a very good film. So you've got playing in this one Paul Walter Hauser as Richard Jewell. You've got Kathy Bates as Bobby Jewell, his mother. Sam Rockwell as Watson Bryan, who's basically a good friend of Richard Jewell when he was a security guard, who also was a attorney. Then you've got Olivia Wilde plays Kathy Scruggs, who is the reporter. You got John Hamm, who played the role of Tom Shaw, who's the FBI informant agent, investigating the situation. And I mean, just that cast alone, I was kind of like, I was taken aback because circumstantially I didn't know what was going to happen. I was kind of like, is this guy going to lose his mind? Is he going to go this? Why is this such a word-worthy film? And the reality is, it's a human story. Like, the circumstances behind it all come from a real place because it actually happened. Because they don't shy away from who Richard Jewell was. He very much so was this person that really he was very intellectual, even though he was very eccentric. Like, he's very weird, very different, like outspoken and always saying the wrong thing, always making himself look like a statistic ultimately. But you can tell in the very opening, like, he's very apparent, time oriented, very connected with everybody that's around him and his surroundings. Just in his first interaction with Sam Rockwell's character, Watson. And it was kind of like nobody understood him. He kept on just trying to really just be a cop. And like, he took his jobs seriously. Not just job, he took his jobs. Like, he really was just on security detail, and all of a sudden, like, he saw something happening and he reacted. And normally it would be a circumstance where, like, he'd be like the cry wolf, and it's like, man, here this guy goes again. But this time he was right. And from that point it just kind of cycles, because you question, like, could he have actually really did this? In my mind, I never questioned it, because the character was just too sincere. And I think there was something that was said to him by Watson, by Sam Rockwell's character, like, when you later on get to where you need to be, don't change, be who you are. And that moment comes back up later on in the third act of the film. But not just that, because this is based on a true story, like, there's so many different ways that this could have went left or right. And I think that Clint Eastwood paces it so well that I was able to get a feel of who all these characters really are, what their dimensions are, and what their flaws are ultimately. Because Sam Rockwell's character, like, I was like, man, what's his flaw? And then I could tell, like, off the gate when you start seeing him interact with his assistant, like, okay, I see where he's kind of come from. I start looking at, you know, Bobby Jewell played by Kathy Bates. Like, you start getting to understand, like, did she platform him to this point to perpetuate him to be the best kind of, you know, whatever he is or whatever cop he wants to be? or did she enable him to put him in this position? You know what I'm saying? Even like Olivia Wilde's Kathy Scruggs character, like, is she being a good reporter, or is she just being an incessant one? And I think one of the biggest things for me is that I think that the performances by Kathy Bates and Olivia Wilde were Oscar worthy of performances. I think honestly Olivia Wilde really needs some of the biggest like kudos, because at first I was like, man, she's just so over the top. Like, I was like, what the heck, like, dial it back. But then I was like, yo, she's nuts. like she really dove into this character, and I think that it shows in every scene. She just lights it up. And then towards the third act, like, she does some things that I was kind of like, she's acting, like, for real. But then it's like you also are competing with Kathy Bates, that she's a vet, bro, and she's come out and it's just like, she was like swinging. Like, her performance in this one was so well done, because it wasn't like she was just overbearing, like, physical kind of person. Like, no, she was a loving mother, like, who's just having her son just getting ridiculed, and she has no power whatsoever to do anything about it. But the way that she equates everything that's happening to him to, you know, what's so wrong about all these other kind of things. And not just that, she built this foundation in his mind that you're supposed to uphold the law. Like, you're supposed to listen to the law. You're supposed to do the right thing. You're supposed to believe in this. And this, when everything gets flipped upside down, their lives are literally at stake here, it comes out in such a great performance to me. John Hamm plays pretty much the villain in this one to me. I think he does a really good job of his performance, but it was rough. It was really rough. Like, some of the things and actions that he did was just so menacing. I'm like, bro, you should be a villain somewhere on some show, some movie. Like, you should be the villain, because you are a amazing. But then he did a great job in Baby Driver. So, I mean, I hadn't seen Mad Men, so he's probably amazing in that. Everybody wants him to be Superman. But as far as what Clint Eastwood does with this one, I think he directs all the actors very well. They all have their moment to be able to be fleshed out as individuals. You get the message behind what really is a transformation of Richard Jewell from where he was to the man that he had to be in order to survive any of this. And it's a rough story, and it was written very well, I think, in my personal opinion. Like, as an adaptational standpoint, I think it was a good adaptational script, screenplay. I think the cinematography was pretty good. Effects was pretty good as well, especially with the explosion stuff and some of the things that were just happening in such a fast pace. The score is actually really good. This is actually a really good score, because it hits your emotional strings really quickly. There's one scene with Kathy Bates towards the third act that I was just like, I felt it. Like, I felt all the different waves of emotion. But I mean, then again, there's this movie called Waves that happens as well. Probably throughout the whole entire film, to be honest with you, and probably a better score than this one. But as far as my review, I would give this a 8.5 out of 10. I think it was a very good ensemble cast. I think it was directed very well. I think Paul Walter Hauser does an amazing job. Like, he just naturally does a really good job with the character Richard Jewell. I know I didn't say much about him, but it's like he possessed the essence of the character. But it's weird because the circumstance around him is the thing that's interesting. He really plays the assist to everybody. And of course there's a moment with him and Sam Rockwell that is kind of like, why didn't this guy get upset? Why didn't he just burst out? And like, you can tell why. And I think that was one of the most interesting performances for this specific actor, that I think he did a really good job with it. This is a stacked season this year, though, for real. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this review. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell button. Let me know what you thought about the movie Richard Jewell. Let me know what you thought about just the reality of the situation when it did happen, if you remember it. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Keep it locked. JVS Wing will stop. Peace, guys.